Hi everyone, and welcome to my presentation Success Through Openness in Digital Design. My name is Johan and I am a designer. I work for Mono, also called Mono Company on Twitter, and we are a digital design agency. We started about 7 years ago and we are 7 people now. We're a small team and we try to design digital products and services with a high quality level. On the left you can see an interface for editing movies. On the right here you can see an interface for planning your classes when you're a teacher. I often joke that I just draw boxes and arrows all day, but in reality I spend a lot of time thinking about where buttons should go, what content should be on the page. We work for different clients. This one is for the Flemish government, this design. And over the past few years, I've observed that digital design is really improving. Things are getting better. We used to have to deal with horrible experiences, and slowly they are improving. Maybe the Belgians in the room will know, but the way you do your taxes is quite terrible, or used to be quite terrible, but now at least you can log into federal services with It's Me, and the user experience is much better. The overall baseline quality improvement of what we're seeing in the design world and just across the world for software in general is just much higher. Big companies like IBM and Shopify are putting out public design systems for people to use. You can view their source code, you can take inspiration from them, and you can improve upon their work. Also on the government level, this counts. Gov.uk has a really large project where they bring together their design research into a design system. And as a designer, I often have to look for inspiration and research from others. I don't have the time to think about everything in detail, so I rely on the knowledge of others. A few weeks ago, I had to design a date input. So think about inputting a date. In this case, in the slide, it says, when was your password issued? For example, 12th of November 2007. And they put a date, day, month, and year there. But you can also think about other patterns. Maybe you want to work with actual date pickers instead of 3 fields. And the nice thing is that these design teams that work on this share their research. On the bottom you can see when to use this component, and the page goes on and on about their research, what they found, and why it's a good idea to ask dates in this way with the 3 fields instead of using these complex ranged date pickers. So as a designer, I'm all about sharing. I love being able to share my work, learn from others. I like to organize events. On the bottom side, you can see an event that we organized in Ghent, when we could still organize real-life events. And this was about design systems. On the top left, you can see my GitHub profile, where I put out a lot of open source work in the hopes of learning and improving and sharing it with others. And I think in general work becomes better when it's discussed, when there's a public eye on it, when there's multiple people checking it, when you can have a discussion about it, gather feedback, improve upon work that has already been built. In general, work just simply becomes better when it's discussed and when there's a public eye on it. I think in the design world there's an interesting evolution going on. In the code world we have open source, and we have had open source for a long time, but now we also have things that I would call open design. This is the app icon of Figma, and Figma is one of my favorite apps. It's an app that you can use to design together. It's a bit like Google Docs, but for designers. And it has a community feature, so that's new from last year, where designers share their work on profiles, such as our own profile from Mono, and we share our icons, we share our device frames, and we hope that others will find a use for it. And this pattern of sharing things and talking about the why and how is a global pattern. It's the trend, it's a couple of years old, this trend, to call this public sharing of your design knowledge a design system. And you might be like, okay, but why is it different than a brand style guide? Why do you call it design system? A design system is a cohesive set of principles, design patterns, guidelines, resources that can be used to collaborate on design together. For example, IBM uses it to make sure that they are consistent in their design and that their products have this IBM feel. Their design system is called Carbon Design System. Then Shopify on the bottom right, their design system is called Polaris, and it's a real example, a really good example of a super good design system where things have been thought through by more than 50 designers. And why is Shopify successful? I think because they put a lot of effort into design, but they also decided to open up the design. And opening up design, that's a key thing. Things are happening in government as well. In the Netherlands, people are starting to think about a Dutch design system. Can we have a country-wide design system? What should it look like? How should we govern it? There used to be a start for the design system, so this is not what it's going to look like final. But different people have this thing like, okay, maybe we should share what we created. There was this nice project, maybe we should share what we created and people can build on it instead of always starting from scratch. So people are gathering in online communities and they are talking about how maybe they can provide templates and guidelines and basic setups so that whenever someone has to start a project, they don't have to start from scratch. The same thing has already happened more than 10 years ago, well, more like 4 years ago for the design system, but 10 years ago for the overall project for gov.uk. And around 2011, the government of the UK decided, okay, we need a new website. And it's a bit similar to the Vlaanderen.be project in a sense that it's an informative website about what the government, anything that that is between the government and you, let's say driver's licenses, passports, government services. On the right side of this slide, you can see the design system website that came out of this project. And the GDS team, that's the team behind the design system, has been super prolific in sharing their digital design lessons. So they have a big team, they have roundtables, they put the sessions on YouTube, they make blog posts, they travel the world. There was a presentation in Antwerp from someone from GDS who came to promote their work and maybe that we could take some lessons from them. And what GDS did is that they unified over 2,000 different looking websites to be part of the same cohesive system. Now, if you dive a bit deeper into GDS, you can find a lot of patterns. So let's say there's this cookie banner. Everyone hates cookie banners, but it's just an example. And the cookie banner, whenever you would need a cookie banner for your government website, you can go there and see what the pattern looks like. You can copy the code. You can start from that design if you are designing something or customizing it. But you can also read the whole discussion about cookie banners and the evolution of the design. And the fact that this evolution is out in the open, that it's out there and that people can read it, is a super strong aspect because it prevents people from always coming back to the same arguments. Maybe a group has already decided at some point, okay, this is the good way to do it. There's research that's backing it up. There are maybe user tests that are backing up the decisions. So there is a reason why things are the way they are. And this research then lands into the design system, and the design system improves in quality. So that's a UK view, and they have been going very strong with their GDS design system. But I'm thinking, what about Belgium? How can we relate this idea of sharing design and sharing code in general to Belgium? We already have a lot of development sharing. We have a strong open source community with FOSDEM being organized every year. We have Drupal that's coming out of Belgium. There are Initiatives like Open Summer of Code, Apps for Ghent. There's the upcoming initiative from the government about Solid and a data vault, personal data vault. But if I look at the design world, I see that there's a bit of a problem there. There are no open design initiatives. If I look at what's going to happen over the next few years, there's the idea from Europe, like, okay, let's focus on green, the environmental things, but also let's focus on making things more digital. Let's go digital first. Digital is super important. But then if I look at the plans that are there to digitize things, it's quite vague and quite IT minded. No one's ever talking about usability, user friendliness, about making things easier. Of course, they are talking about it, but they are talking about it in the abstract. So I want to make it a bit more concrete. What I want is a Belgian design system, and I think we should all work together on it. One Sunday I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a design system. Of course, after a few hours I was tired. I didn't get very far. I thought about the logos from the federal government, and I was like, hey, this logo, I don't like it. I'm gonna change it. And I thought about this news thing about the haircutters reopening, and I was like, what is this ugly banner doing there? And why is the typography so bad? And why does this site look so bad in general? So maybe we should redesign it and think about colors, typography, icons. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I quickly realized this is not a weekend project. This is a collaborative effort, community effort that we should work on as a country. And I'm thinking, if you want to go fast, go along, but if you want to go far, go together. So I think we need a system where we put open design documentation, where we have a nice community model for the governance, where we have reusability of components so that people don't always start from scratch. I think that public money should lead to public good. And I ask everyone in the room, what are we waiting for? Why can't we start a Belgian design system today? Thanks. Whew. All right, this is the recording. Actually, I'm just practicing my talk, but I hit record, and I think I'm gonna put this one online. So thanks for watching this. This is a session that I'm giving in a few hours at Open Belgium. And yeah, hope that something comes out of this.